So today I'm going to talk about the one and only true beauty secret. And there really is only one, and I'm going to reveal it at the end of this video. Youth and beauty are extremely important, and don't let anyone tell you differently. The idea that beauty is only skin deep and that what you are on the inside matters more than how you look ignores how the world really works. Yes, of course, we like people who demonstrate compassion, kindness, confidence and a sense of humor, but from an attraction point of view, they often don't cut it if the person isn't good looking. This is especially true of female beauty. People will treat you differently if you're good looking, regardless of your wonderful personal qualities. And this has been confirmed by research studies time and time again. Yet we tend to believe that if we are smarter, kinder, more funny, it will make us more attractive. And that's kind of true. Unfortunately, it's true for men and not so true for women. And it comes down to our biological programming. Youth and beauty have a high biological value that should not be underestimated. Now, why is youth and beauty important? Well, there are a few things you should know. Beauty is more important for women than for men in attracting a mate. Men are attracted to youth and beauty more than any other trait because they are biological fertility indicators and not because men are shallow. Women will take into account non-physical traits, status, humor, kindness, confidence in selecting a mate, not because women are nicer or less superficial than men, but only because those traits in a man improve his fitness in looking after a family and his potential for success in life. When I say fitness, I don't mean gym fitness. I mean fitness from a biological sense, of being able to reproduce, attract mates, reproduce, have children, etc. Women will choose non-physical traits for long-term mating, but good looks for short-term mating. That's just how it works. However, men with humor, confidence, etc. will do okay in the short-term mating game, even if they are not good looking, especially if they dress well. Men and women look for different physical attributes when selecting a mate, whereas men are attracted to an ideal waist-to-hip ratio and specific facial features. Women are attracted to an ideal shoulder-to-waist ratio and different facial features. Neither sex is attracted to a bulging stomach. In fact, it's the least desirable body attribute. So what do you do with this information? The right body shape can enhance your attractiveness, especially if you're a woman. It can also improve your self-esteem, which leads to greater confidence, especially important for men. We're also not only judged by the opposite sex, but also by our own gender. This can enhance or diminish our feelings of self-worth. People will ascribe certain psychological attributes to you just on the basis of your body shape. If your build is athletic, then the attributes will be positive. If you are fat or thin, then the attributes will generally be negative. You can disagree with all this, but these preferences were shaped over millions of years of our evolutionary history, and they play out every day of your life, whether you accept them or not. Whether you think they're fair or not, you can resent it, ignore it, or use it to your advantage to give yourself the best life you're capable of. Ancient beauty quotes like that of Aristotle above show that beauty has a power that was as relevant 2,300 years ago as it is today. The next time you're at the beach, would you not prefer to have a body that is attractive to the opposite sex and have other men or women say, "I wish I looked like that"? First, you need to understand the why of youth and beauty, and then we can start looking at what constitutes the best body for you, whether you're male or female. Is beauty in the eye of the beholder? Although on the surface it may appear that standards of beauty vary worldwide, standards of physical attractiveness have actually been shown to be strong and consistent across ages and regions of the world. Agreement on beauty also holds across genders and sexual orientation, cross-culturally between Asian American and European American females, among Chinese, Indian and English females, and between African and European Americans. One difference, though, is that in poorer countries where thinness is connected to poverty, larger women are held up as an ideal. This is more because of the status they have achieved, as in rich enough to eat well, rather than beauty. One apparently universal finding is that the physical beauty of females receives more consideration than does the beauty of males, which works out well for men. The importance attached to female physical attractiveness in our species is an anomaly. I've mentioned this before, considering that among other animals, male attractiveness matters much more than female beauty. In virtually all of the human population sampled, males rated physical attractiveness, usually associated with youth, significantly more important in mate choice than did females. Females, by contrast, mostly rated earning potential and ambition as more important in mate choice. The attractiveness of the man usually depends predominantly on his skills and prowess rather than upon his looks. Again, works well for men. So as a male, you can't easily change your face, but you can improve your skills and prowess. An evolutionary perspective on human behavior suggests that human beings, like members of other animal species, are likely to have adaptations for assessing the value of potential sexual partners using visual and other cues, and that our standards of physical attractiveness arise from these adaptations. Now, this brings us closer to something I'm calling the beauty secret, and it has everything to do with evolution. The beauty indicators, features of physical appearance such as full lips, clear and smooth skin, clear eyes, lustrous hair, good muscle tone, and a waist-to-hip ratio of 0.7, that's the hourglass shape, were all indications to our evolutionary ancestors of a healthy and young woman. Symmetry of facial features also seems to be an indicator of health because heavy parasite load can diminish symmetry. These inbuilt preferences seem to be aimed at ensuring that males find suitably fertile females who are healthy enough to reproduce and in turn produce healthy children. These mechanisms are instinctual and generally subconscious. Men don't think to themselves, I must find a woman with a waist-to-hip ratio of 0.7 and smooth skin. We just find these characteristics appealing, and they are almost universally sought after. When men see beautiful women, those who have these characteristics, the section of the male brain associated with gambling and thrill-seeking and rewards is stimulated. Is it any wonder that men turn to look when a beautiful woman walks past? They are receiving immediate positive stimulation of their brains. All of these traits are reliable cues to youth, good health and fertility. Facial neoteny, or the continuation of juvenile traits into adulthood, is appealing to males because it signifies youth. Lips reach their fullness at 14 to 16 when women enter the fertile stage of their life. Men prefer large eyes, small nose and chin, and full red lips. We subconsciously associate all of these indicators with fertility. Now, cartilaginous tissues such as ears and nose continue to grow throughout life. Ears get bigger and noses get longer, wider and more conspicuous, and are indicative of aging. The vermilion or red zone of the lips gets thinner with the loss of connective tissue as we age. Female hips and waistlines expand as they get older. Males subconsciously associate these characteristics with a lack of fertility. Since men are most attracted to those features that indicate high fertility and perhaps a long future of reproduction, older women don't usually cut it unless they are particularly good looking, because a beautiful looking older woman will generally be judged up to 10 years younger than her biological age compared to less attractive older women. And of course, if men were attracted to only menopausal women, then there would not be much chance of passing on their genes to the future generations. If men stick to indicators of youth, then there's a good chance they will be able to reproduce. Hence the importance of following visual cues that will lead to this result. Now, the female face receives a great deal of attention, both by men and women. However, the female figure plays a part in attraction as well. A large body of physiological research has shown that the waist-to-hip ratio stands out as a feature of attractiveness among a number of measures of body size and shape, and relates to age and fertility. Now, waist-hip ratio is WHR for abbreviation. Now, research from Poland showed that women close to a WHR of 0.7 are more fertile than women with larger or smaller WHRs. Not surprisingly, men's ideal preferred WHR in women is 0.7. Average female WHR increases slowly over the course of adulthood, in step with declining fertility, and is once again in the male range of 0.85 to 0.95 among most menopausal women, indicative of aging and lack of fertility. So basically, Younger women go from this hourglass shape, and as they get older, it expands out, and as it gets closer and closer to a man's shape, which is about 0.85, 0.9, they lose attractiveness because they start to look more like men in terms at least of body shape. Now, another perhaps better indicator of bodily attractiveness rather than WHR is the body mass index. A BMI around 18 to 19 for women is considered the ideal in terms of attractiveness, given that small increases or decreases on either side of this range lead to large reductions in perceptions of attractiveness. Now, this is not surprising given that the BMI is closely correlated with health and fertility. A BMI close to 19 confers the lowest mortality rates, and fertility rates decrease as the BMI rises or drops below 19. Dr. Martin Tovey and associates at Newcastle University theorised that men use the BMI as a primary screening mechanism for selecting the most attractive women from a range of possible partners, and then the WHR helps them discriminate between these most attractive ones. Don't be upset if your BMI is greater than 18 to 19, as figures up to 23 are still considered attractive, and most people are not considered overweight until they reach a BMI of 26 or greater. The human mate value declines with age, beginning in early adulthood. Unfortunately, attractiveness declines about 2% per year faster for females than for males. Is it any surprise then that women instinctually attempt, through makeup or cosmetic surgery, to enhance their lips and the condition of their skin? Through hairdressers to enhance the quality of their hair, through cosmetic surgery to make their noses smaller and better shaped, and through liposuction or fitness regimes to enhance their waist to hip ratio, BMI and muscle tone. Sure, people feel good when they look good, but it goes much deeper than that. They are in competition with other females for available mates, whether they choose to acknowledge it or not. For women, it pays to look youthful and beautiful for a whole range of reasons. Beautiful people are usually treated preferentially in a variety of situations, from work to romance to criminal cases. There are evolutionary reasons as to why this is so. Beauty has an impact whether you choose to acknowledge it or not. These evolutionary mechanisms are operating regardless of whether you believe in them or not. Wouldn't it be better to know what is going on and then be able to choose freely whether you want to play the game or not? It isn't fair and it isn't particularly nice, but that is the reality. However, I don't want you to give up all hope. After all, most of us aren't supermodels. The writer Henry James met the English novelist George Eliot, that's the pseudonym of Mary Ann Evans, when she was 49 years old. He wrote to his father, "She is magnificently ugly. She has a low forehead, a dull grey eye, a vast pendulous nose, a huge mouth full of uneven teeth. Now in this vast ugliness resides a most powerful beauty, which in a very few minutes steals forth and charms the mind, so that you end as I ended, in falling in love with her." Now I think James was a bit rough on her, but even though he was charmed by her, whether he would have dated her is another story. I'll tell you something from my own experience. When I was a teenager, I went to a local school dance. I was probably about 16, I suppose, and I met these two girls, and we had one, Anastasia, and we had the other one, Vicky. Now, Vicky was your classic Barbie girl. She was beautiful, blonde hair, beautiful skin, looked great, petite, and of course, I was attracted to her. And I got talking to both of them. And as I spoke to them, I found that Vicky, perhaps because of her personality and her interests, became less attractive to me, and Anastasia became more and more attractive to me as we spoke. And Anastasia was tall, kind of gawky looking, a bit uncoordinated, and definitely not as attractive as Vicky. But there was something about her style, her quality, her goofiness that really appealed. Now, unfortunately, she wasn't interested in me, so it never went anywhere. But I remember at the time watching her beauty actually increase. So take what I'm saying as a generalization. This is what's happening underneath the surface of all humans. But we are not all robots. We don't all have to follow that evolutionary programming, especially if we're aware of it. And by not following that evolutionary programming, we can make choices that may actually be much better for us. And I've mentioned in previous videos that beauty alone does not confer happiness. The beautiful people are not necessarily happier than the rest of us. They are usually happier in their ability to attract mates, but one only has to look to Hollywood to realize that attracting mates and living happily ever after don't always go together. Now, I know I've given the impression that there is one ideal female or male out there that is the preferred type most people want. Now, this is generally true in that 70 to 90% of people will go with evolutionary templates of male and female bodies. However, in reality, very few of us fit the bill, and yet for millennia, humans have managed to find love and mate and enjoy their lives in spite of not being perfect. Luckily, many humans fall for a smile, a sense of humor, intelligence, or kindness, and caring, and these are attributes available to all of us. However, to maximize your potential and to tap into the advantages of beauty, the easiest place to start is with your own body. Enhance that and you enhance your life. So what is the beauty secret? It's simply this. There is an evolutionary template for beauty, and the closer you can get to that template, the more attractive you will be. This is the beauty secret. And in my next video, I'm going to look at either the male or female perfect body. I say perfect body from an evolutionary perspective. And whether you choose to pursue that or not will be up to you. But I can at least give you the guidelines. But until then, don't get depressed. You can fix many of these things, and there is light at the end of the tunnel.